Welcomes to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys. I am Jenny, the storytelling genie, here with my sweet friend Cosette, the crafty cat, and she's sitting here with my genie lamp today. It looks like she's already ready to rub it together and wish us on another enchanted journey. We have a great story picked out for you today about a sweet little bear who goes on a great adventure. I love it so much because I also like to go on great adventures, and I'm grateful to Cosette for helping send us on our way. You see, all we do is we rub our hands together, we say some magic words, and away on the magic carpet we fly to a special location to share a story together. Would you like to go with us now? Okay, let's go. I wish to go on an enchanted journey. I've got another wonderful story for us today. This one is by Michael Bond, and it is called Paddington. I hope you enjoy it. Mr. and Mrs. Brown first met Paddington on a railway platform. In fact, that was how he came to have such an unusual name for a bear, because Paddington was the name of the station. The Browns were waiting to meet their daughter Judy when Mr. Brown noticed something small and furry near the left luggage office. "It looks like a bear," he said. "A bear?" repeated Mrs. Brown. "In Paddington Station? Don't be silly, Henry. There can't be." But Mr. Brown was right. It was sitting on an old leather suitcase marked "Wanted on Voyage," and as they drew near, it stood up and politely raised its hat. "Good afternoon," it said. "May I help you?" "It's very kind of you," said Mr. Brown, "but as a matter of fact, we were wondering if we could help you." "You're a very small bear," said Mrs. Brown. "Where are you from?" The bear looked around carefully before replying, "Darkest Peru. I'm not really supposed to be here at all. I'm a stowaway." "You don't mean to say that you've come all the way from South America on your own," exclaimed Mrs. Brown. "Whatever did you do for food?" Unlocking the suitcase, the bear took out an almost empty glass jar. "I ate marmalade," he said. "Bears like marmalade." Mrs. Brown looked at the label around the bear's neck. It said quite simply, "Please look after this bear. Thank you." "Oh, Henry," she cried, "we can't leave him here all by himself. There's no knowing what might happen to him. Can't he come home and stay with us?" "Stay with us?" repeated Mr. Brown nervously. He looked down at the bear. Would you like that?" he asked. "That is," he added hastily, "if you have nothing else planned." "Oh, yes," replied the bear. "I would like that very much. I've nowhere to go, and everyone seems to be in such a hurry." "That settles it," said Mrs. Brown. "Now you must be thirsty after your journey. Mr. Brown can get you some tea while I go and meet our daughter Judy." "But Mary," said Mr. Brown, "we don't even know its name." Mrs. Brown thought for a minute. "I know," she said. "We'll call him Paddington after the station." "Paddington!" The bear tested it several times to make sure. "Paddington, Paddington. It sounds very important." Mr. Brown tried it out next. "Follow me, Paddington," he said. "I'll take you to the snack bar." Mr. Brown was as good as his word. Paddington had never seen so many snacks on one tray, and he didn't know which to try first. He was so hungry and thirsty that he climbed up onto the table to get a better look. Mr. Brown turned away, pretending he had tea with a bear at Paddington Station every day of his life. "Henry," cried Mrs. Brown when she arrived with Judy, "what are you doing to that poor bear?" Paddington jumped up to raise his hat, and in his haste, he slipped on a strawberry tart, skidded on the cream, and fell over backward into his cup of tea. "I think we'd better go before anything else happens," said Mr. Brown. Judy took hold of Paddington's paw. "Come along," she said. "We'll take you home, and you can meet Mrs. Bird and my brother Jonathan." Mr. Brown led the way to a waiting taxi. "Number 32 Windsor Gardens, please," he said. The driver stared at Paddington. "Bears is extra," he growled. "Sticky bears is twice as much, and make sure none of it comes off on my interior. It was clean when I set out this morning." The sun was shining as they drove out of the station, and there were cars and big red buses everywhere. Paddington waved to some people waiting at the bus stop, and several of them waved back. It was all very friendly. Paddington tapped the taxi driver on his shoulder. "It isn't a bit like darkest Peru," he announced. The man jumped at the sound of Paddington's voice. "Cream," he said bitterly. "Cream and jam all over my coat." He slid the little window behind him shut. "Oh dear, Henry," murmured Mrs. Brown. "I wonder if we're doing the right thing." Fortunately, before anyone had time to answer, they arrived at Windsor Gardens, and Judy helped Paddington onto the pavement. "Now you're going to meet Mrs. Bird," she said. "She looks after us. She's a bit fierce at times, but she doesn't really mean it. I'm sure you'll like her." Paddington felt his knees begin to wobble. "I'm sure I shall if you say so," he replied. "The thing is, will she like me?" "Goodness gracious!" exclaimed Mrs. Bird. "What have you got there?" "It's not a what," said Judy. "It's a bear called Paddington, and he's coming to stay with us." "A bear?" said Mrs. Bird as Paddington raised his hat. "Well, he has good manners, I'll say that for him." "I'm afraid I stepped on a jam tart by mistake," said Paddington. "I can see that," said Mrs. Bird. "You'd better have a bath before you're very much older. Judy can turn it on for you. I dare say you'll be wanting some marmalade, too." "I think she likes you," whispered Judy. Paddington had never been in a bathroom before. While the water was running, he made himself at home. First of all, he tried writing his new name on the steam of the mirror. Then he used Mr. Brown's shaving cream to draw a map of Peru on the floor. It wasn't until a drip landed on his head that he remembered what he was supposed to be doing. He soon discovered that getting into the bath is one thing, but it's quite another matter getting out again, especially when it's full of soapy water. Paddington tried calling out, "Help!" at first in a quiet voice, so as not to disturb anyone. Then very loudly, "Help! Help!" When that didn't work, he began bailing the water out with his hat, but the hat had several holes in it, and his map of Peru soon turned into a sea of foam. Suddenly, Jonathan and Judy burst into the bathroom and lifted a dripping Paddington onto the floor. "Thank goodness you're all right," cried Judy. "We heard you calling out." "Fancy making such a mess," said Jonathan admiringly. "You should have pulled the plug out." "Oh," said Paddington, "I never thought of that." When Paddington came downstairs, he looked so clean that no one could possibly be cross with him. His fur was all soft and silky, and his nose gleamed, and his paws had lost all traces of the jam and cream. The Browns made room for him in a small armchair, and Mrs. Bird brought him a pot of tea and a plate of hot buttered toast and marmalade. "Now," said Mrs. Brown, "you must tell us all about yourself. I'm sure you have had a lot of adventures." "I have," said Paddington earnestly. "Things are always happening to me. I am that sort of bear." He settled back into this armchair. "I was brought up by my Aunt Lucy in darkest Peru," he began, "but she had to go into a home for retired bears in Lima." He closed his eyes thoughtfully, and a hush fell over the room as everyone waited expectingly. After a while, when nothing happened, they began to get restless. Mr. Brown tried coughing. Then he reached across and poked Paddington. "Well, I never," he said. "I do believe he's fast asleep." "After all that's happened to him," said Mrs. Brown. "Is it any wonder?" I hoped you enjoyed the story of Paddington, the little bear from the darkest Peru and his great big adventure to England, to Paddington Station where he got his name and met the Brown family who he could stay with. It's a great story. It reminds me a lot of our enchanted journeys that we get to take with Cosette. And now that this enchanted journey has ended, I'm ready for an activity, and I hope you are too. Our little friend was from darkest Peru, which is really far away in South America. Maybe he would like to send a postcard home to his Aunt Lucy at the retired home for bears so he could keep in touch with her now that he's all the way up north in England. I have an activity for us to do today that's something like that. I thought maybe we could make a postcard of our own and we could send it to a friend or a family member who maybe lives far away and touch base with them and let them know all about our adventures. Does that sound fun? We can do this together. I'm going to share with you some supplies that I'm going to use to make a postcard, and you can run and grab them too, and we'll do it together. All right, let's go. I hope you enjoyed the story of Paddington and his travels far from his home in the deepest, darkest of Peru. You know, it got me to thinking, if I were to travel far away from my family, I would really miss them. And what better way to let them know how I was doing and that I was thinking about them than to send a postcard. So I thought that we could write a postcard together. In fact, I thought we could make our own postcard. That way you can make it special to you and to put on there whatever you want, and you don't even have to leave your home to get one. To make your very own postcard, you only need a few things. One thing you do need is cardstock paper in at least this size that says 65 pounds. All that means is it's a thicker piece of paper than your sheet paper from like a computer or from your notebooks. And this you can actually send in the mail. It's a postcard weight and firmness to it that will allow you to mail that. So cardstock paper that says 65 pounds on it is going to be fine. Mine is kind of a cream colored. You can get any color you want. It does come in white as well. I'm going to use this cream, and I plan on putting a lot of pictures on top of it and colors, so I'm not too concerned that it's cream colored instead of white. The other thing I did was I found some different fonts that I liked online. I'm going to make my postcard say "Greetings from Massachusetts" because I live in Massachusetts, but you can make yours say anything you want. Maybe you live in South Carolina, maybe you live in Texas, maybe you say "Heidi-ho from Texas," or maybe you're out in California and you say "Sunny wishes from California," whatever it might be. So I did print these out though so I could get an idea of what I might want to make my lettering on the front of my postcard look like. I have pencil, eraser. I do have a paper cutter. You don't need to have a paper cutter. You can just use scissors. That's fine as long as you're very careful after you draw your lines. I've got some crayons, some colored pencils and markers, and that's about all I'm going to need right now. Okay, the first thing we need to know about postcards is they must be rectangular in shape, and they must be at least 3.5 inches tall by 5 inches long, or 4.25 inches tall by 6 inches long. I'm going to make mine 3.5 inches by 5 inches. So this is where you'll need your ruler to do some measuring on your cardstock paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my paper 5 inches long. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. This next measurement needs to be 3.5 inches. So that rectangle that I made should be 3.5 by 5 inches. So I can check it. It's going to be 3.5. And going this direction, it is 5 inches. So now I've got the correct size for my postcard. I can go ahead and cut that out. Okay, and you should be left with a rectangle 3.5 this way by 5. A good size postcard. That's all you need. It's not very big, as you can see. Once you've cut your postcard 3.5 by 5, you're going to pick either a front or a back. Right now it's blank, so it doesn't matter which side, but you're going to designate one side to be the back. And I'm actually going to split right in half in the back of my postcard. I'm going to use my ruler and pencil again, so that half of it can be for a message and the other half is the address and postage stamp so I can mail my postcard. So this part is where a stamp's going to go, and then I'm just going to add some space for an address. I'm not too worried that my lines are a little shorter or longer on one side right now. I'm going to clean that up as I go. I just wanted to mark that out. That's where I'm going to put a name, a stamp, an address, and this is where the message goes. So this other side, the blank side, is where you get to be creative. I'm going to write "Greetings from Massachusetts," and then I'm going to add, I think, our state flower, the Mayflower, and our state bird, which is a chickadee. So you can go ahead and begin filling out your postcard however you like, and putting whatever you want on there. Have fun with this part. This is the creative part. draw pictures or post some pictures from a magazine or a family photo or anything like that that you want on your postcard. Are done decorating your postcard with whatever you like, drawing it in pencil, then you can start using your markers and colored pencils, crayons, anything you like to color it in and spruce it up a little bit before addressing it on the back. I hope you're enjoying making your very own postcard, and I hope that you have a loved one somewhere you can send this to. I'm actually almost done with the front of mine, and I do have a couple of little boys in mind that I'm going to send this to, my nephews. So on the back, when I'm finished with the side, I'm going to put in their name and address over here and a stamp, and on this side, I'm going to write them a message. After you've made your postcard and you've written a nice note to somebody and you filled in their address, on the other side you put a stamp. There's one extra thing you can do, and that is to either use some clear tape on the front, or you can use like a laminate paper. You can use something like this. It's called laminate adhesive liner, and it's just a clear laminate that I'm going to put on the front of my postcard just to protect it from the rain when it goes through the mail. You're done. I hope that you had fun drawing or decorating or creating your own postcard, and I hope that you'll send it to somebody that you miss, that you're thinking of, who might live far away from you. And if they don't live far away from you, you can still send it to it. Maybe you have a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle nearby that you want to send a little note to in the mail, or maybe a friend at school, like a pen pal. You can send it to anybody that you choose. That's the fun, and you can make many of these if you like. If you don't know who else to send it to, you could send it to me and Cosette if you want, and I'll make sure I share my address with you before the end of the program. If you want to send us a note, please do. Let's head back to my lamp. And welcome back to the Magic Lamp. Were you able to follow along with me today and make a postcard or perhaps a letter of your own? Do you have someone special in mind that you think you could send it to? I do. What do you think, Cosette? Do you think my nephews will enjoy getting a letter from their Auntie Jenny up here in Massachusetts? I hope so. I hope it'll be a nice surprise for them. Just to let them know I miss them and I'm thinking about them and I'm sending them a hello. Speaking of missing, I do hope that you'll come back to the lamp again very soon to see Cosette and myself and to take another enchanted journey with us. We enjoy your company so much. Until we see you again, take care. Bye-bye.